California has 35,000 people serving life sentences. Most of the people who are in prison for serious and violent crimes are actually survivors of serious and violent crimes. While in prison, there are almost no programs to help them understand the role of trauma in their decision-making and their actions. And so that's the gap that we fill. Uncommon law really helps people who are in prison process trauma. Most of the people we work with are serving life sentences with the possibility of parole.
What led me to prison in the first place was me not being able to process how I viewed the world and how I felt the world viewed me. I was convicted of aggravated kidnapping for robbery. I went down that path not knowing the harm that I would ultimately cause to so many different people. And I had horror stories with prior lawyers who had attempted to represent me at my board hearing. The third time I went to the parole board, I was in this board hearing for 8 hours and I was denied. My challenge was my history. Every time I walked into the boardroom, it was about who Troy was 20 years prior. I knew that if there was ever going to be a chance for me, I needed to reach out to uncommon law.
In prison, they are in an environment that requires brutality and strongly discourages vulnerability.
Nobody wants someone paroled who's going to go out and be a violent criminal again. But what Uncommon Law has done is really looked at the research. People with life sentences, they are the least likely to, once they get out, to commit another crime.
We help people understand how traumatic experiences contributed to their behavior patterns and help them discover and develop new ones. Then we represent them in front of the parole board so they can come home.
I started opening up. You've got something to share with us, right?
The work long before you ever go into the hearing isn't lawyer work. It's more counseling work, it's more therapeutic. Our clients, now we've had 240 of them released from their life sentences. 2 have gone back to prison. Each year they remain out of prison is saving the state $16 million.
What Uncommon Law did was they spend time with you that helps you talk about and process some of the deepest trauma that you have experienced in your life that you can't talk about to the prison therapist.
It was ugly. Yeah, you've been through some stuff.
Most people go with an attorney appointed by the state. Almost always they're meeting with those clients one time before their hearing for 5 or 10 minutes. We tend to work with them for months or years. We bring all the resources, including clinicians we have on staff who volunteer with us, to prepare them for life after prison. By the time they get there, they've learned to develop empathy for the victims, and they've learned to forgive themselves and to create a new life for themselves.
I finally meet you, that's good.
I've been home for 5 years. I am working as a restorative justice practitioner in juvenile and adult facilities.
We're planning to launch a 3-year pilot program we call the Restorative Needs Pilot, which will train other people who are currently and formerly incarcerated to do this work inside on a much larger scale.
Uncommon Law works with people who are ready to be successful and productive in the community.
We have focused on supporting our clients and clearly, openly, and honestly telling their own story. That is really what sets them free.
Welcome home. Thank you, man. Thank you.